All right, all right. Happy Friday to all you devils out there. Sam here with you, 17th of December here. Oh, coming up, it's just about 1 o'clock here. Of course, we're going to look at Bitcoin today. So I've got up here in front of us this, we've been using this for, well, it feels like a couple of months now. It's the Brave New Coin Liquid Index for Bitcoin. So looking out here on the daily chart here, and this really unchanged from last week. We'll look at a couple of interesting things that are happening internally on some smaller time frames that might give us some clues. Now, I've long called this the most unpopular count across, well, crypto in general. Nobody wanted to think this is what was happening, right? So for so long, the thinking was so severely, 1, 2, 3, and then it was like, oh, well, it can't be 1, 2, 3, so, oh, it's got to be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. Maybe, right? Still a possibility. As we look at this here, it was a couple of things to note here, just review our members, right? You've seen me talk about this for forever. It seems like we've been since these lows. You'll note the 23.6 inside channel just continues to be framing the entire corrective channel. Almost looks like you drew a channel on it. Well, in fact, we did. Really the question here is, as it sits right here, as you'll often hear me say, the market has to reveal itself here. We cannot be, definitive about what's coming here because the market hasn't revealed it yet. Now, we've got the pieces here, so we can make educated guesstimates as to what to anticipate here. But really, at this point, while the 1, 2, 1, 2 is not dead yet, right? And for all we know, this thing rockets, and then we're back looking at that. Right now, well, certainly if we break this channel, if we start to accelerate here, maybe this is a retrace going on. We start to break this channel, some of the geometry here. Boy, that count. Well, there's a low here that we break when we look at it on a smaller time frame, but that we'll be able to eliminate that possibility here. I think it's looking less and less likely, although not impossible, right? Or less probable. Maybe we say it that way. Well, as it's labeled currently, it's teed up for a flat, right? So we'd have a WXY into an A, an ABC into a B. Now, if for a flat, we need a 5 coming down here. So this, there's kind of good news, bad news here. If it's going to play as a flat, if this is 1, 2, and maybe that's 3. This is all looking very 4-ish here. We coming down here. Well, see. Wouldn't be the craziest thing I'd ever seen, but it seems less probable. Now, what's problematic there is if we get an impulse here, if it finishes with an impulse, then we're doing this, then we're doing a 3, now we're doing a 4, and starting to look pretty ugly here. So to some degree, per the count, as it's unfolding right now, there's some, bearish foreshadowing here, depending on, do we start to accelerate to where we can identify a third going here? Well, we can't do it here. Now, before anyone starts to get nervous, the alternate here, which is, I would say is equally probable, if anything more probable based on the 2 that we had here, being, an emphasis on the COVID sell-off here. So we end up with a sharp correction here. There's still the possibility we do this into a triangle, right? So, and I've talked about this for, again, feels like a long time, right? So if we got an A, B, C, D, E, right, then all of this, the C would go in, we'd need the D, E, and then the 4 could be over here because the shaping of the triangle here is getting stretched a little bit. Again, I think we looked at this last week. So if we're going to bring that in here, something like that, and then something like this here, depending on how far we go down here, all of a sudden the 4 is starting to push higher. You can just, if I draw it out here, A, B, C, D, E, right? Now we're here, where are we? 40s. 42-ish, we get the completion of the triangle. Again, I'm just free drawing there, but that's still very much a real possibility. But this, for the flat to come down here, and we're going to get a, we can do this. This is the problem with this is it allows the interpretation here based on what you want to see. So it's very difficult to be definitive about what we're calling this. My preference is the WXY. One thing I do not like here that I think is much more difficult to complete is a 5, although it could be done, but then you'd have to put the A over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there is a way that you can, oh shit, here, hang on, let me get in there so you can see this. There is a way you can still do it, right? So if it was here, you'd have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the A, B, C, and then we'd finish with a C. So it wouldn't alter the count, but it would. You see what that would do is alter the prognosis over here, because if it's an A, so if we're going to go 5 and then we're going to go 3, well, now we're looking for a 5, of course. So we'd just be looking for a zigzag with an expanded B. Okay, still very, very real possibility here. Per the way I have it currently labeled, if it's going to be A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C into a W, so we have W, X, Y into the A wave, A, B, C into the B wave, well, that it's implying here that if it's going to be an impulse here, we could be heading down here towards, low 30, call it 30 to 33 in that range. And so this has been frustrating for many, as this is just taking a lot of time, right? So people just get impatient, a little bit frustrated. Now, there's a few things going on here that can give us some targets here as I move these around a little bit. Of course, right, this is I think when I originally drew this up here in the first video I did on it, I called this potentially the most perfect Elliott wave ever, right? So if you were ever going to find that, Bitcoin certainly would be the asset for it. So, what are we going to get here? Well, let's look. There's a couple things here I've got here, and again, I know we spent a lot of time on this. Well, let's look at time, right? So, of course, time. As I think I mentioned this last week, both Gann and Elliott would tell you that time equally, if not more important than just price. So let's put a little time on here. So if I look at it here, so I'm just taking the length of swing high to swing low. I am using the proposed pivot here of the WXY for that first low to the B high. Well, yellow here, I've got yellows or gold in the 618s and the 1 and the 2 in red here. So you can note here, right at the corner here, the 618, the length of the A projected from the proposed B would bring us in here, January 9-10 here for that low. So if that's coming, well, 1, 2, perhaps we're working on the 3, 4, 5, right? You can see how that could line up, right? And then we'd be right in line with, here, if I did it this way, with the prior 3, 4. Now I'm using it down here because this now is our next area of support. This is interesting how this is unfolding, or it's too early to call. But the other thing to note here is that now if we go to the 100, so the length of the A here projected from the B, if we get to 100%, the length of that A swing, now we're coming in here, mid-February, February 14, 15, for the proposed pivot here where we'd have the C and the 4 lining up. And you'll note here we'd have some interesting symmetry here. This is the 786 and the 887 here. Same thing modeled down here. Since we didn't get to the upper parallel, you might anticipate that you would do something similar down here. So what do we get coming off of here? What is it? Well, too soon to call it. There's a few other things here that I think are worth noting. One, well, of course, if we put a set of median lines on this, well, this is interesting here how we get the line up here. So hitting the median line on the 618. So middle of January here at the 23.6, call it 33. And then the 100%, if we hit that median line here, now we're at 31.2-ish at 100%. So all back here in this lower boundary of potential support. It's kind of interesting. Now here, we had drawn this trend line here last week, just the baseline here across here as I've done it in yellow. Here, let me take this. Let me hide that. You see a little bit better here. So I'm just connecting this pivot on the retrace. So we get pivot, pivot. Now, as it breaks, it's very common to come and retest from above, which we do. So we ping this 3 times. I'm just projecting that down. Just extending the trend line, right? So the 2 meet right here, right on the edge of this 618. Now we're getting kind of thin on time for that to play out. But it is interesting. But what I did additionally, because I've got multiple hits here, so the market is being influenced by this trend line here, it occurred to me that if we put a parallel on this and ran a channel on that, that might be telling as well. So that's exactly what I did here. So I've just put the channel on top of that line and then pivot up here. So we see coming down here, so where we might hit that center line or the lower parallel. Now, if I put the pitchfork back on there, you start to see some confluence points that are interesting. So what's it going to be? Channel. This would be at the absolute low. We'd be challenging the pivot lows down here. 100%. If we're down here, we're challenging the median line. So a lot of confluence here. Really, this is going to be critical to the market. It'd be very interesting to see how this plays between, call it middle of January to middle of February. That little pivot in here, if we're coming lower to complete this as a flat, boy, heads up during that period of time. I have everything covered here. I think I did. Let me take this channel off of it here. Same kind of thing right now here. I'm just working with what the market's giving me here, but it's just kind of interesting confluence point. So if we were to come down yet again, well, I mean, this is where you're aggressive. Well, let me rephrase that. This is where I'm going to be very aggressive in terms of long-term addition, right? Should it be offered, right? It remains to be seen. We don't know that we're going to see that again. The triangle is just as valid. We may never see these kind of low upper 30s, 32, 30. We may never see it again. Many think so, right? As I've said many times, probably the most common comment that I get underneath these videos here from non-members is that, oh, no way. Never going to be below 30 again. Never. Careful about that kind of language. Gets you in trouble. Okay, so I think we covered everything here on the longer term on this daily. I'd have this somewhere, right? It's not easy to recreate this. Or you pause the video, recreate it on your own members, right? You all know how to do this. So long term, I think we're in good shape here in terms of right now, it's just a hurry up and wait. What happens next? Oh, God. Hang on, my puppy's going crazy. Hang on a second, I'll be right back. 10-week-old puppy wants some attention. Okay, anyway, so as I continue on here, so let's move off of the daily here and look at some of this on a shorter time frame. Here's a few things that I think are worth noting. They're very interesting. So I've just got it up over here. Oh, what am I on? Coinbase here. Oh, let's see. So I have... I have this little EMA channel on here. This is just a 50-period EMA. And then just a channel. Oh, shit, what's this called? The EMA Envelope from Lazy Bear, right? One of the most prominent coders that contributed all sorts of outstanding indicators, right? So the EMA Envelope, it's just the high and the low. And then the center line is the 50 EMA. This is long, but it's very popular amongst FX traders. And the market makers will use it as kind of as almost like a median line or a mean reversion, right? So you'll find that if we get away from it, often it'll come back to it because market makers will use it, kind of manipulate the market, entice you with as it moves away, and then bring it back. It's just another approach, but is equally applicable here in crypto. So what I did here, I just looked at the swing low here. Now you'll note here I've got this emphasized here and an alert on it because then we invalidate and we eliminate any possibility of a 1-2-1-2. So I've just, from that swing low to that swing high, I've just drawn the volume profile here. It's interesting, right? So we obviously the volume, the VPOC is up here, the point of control around all of this trading. We do business. Now as we move away from it, interesting. Well, what you'll note here, let me push this off to the side. That as we come down, okay, this is the value of volume profile. You see that big divot here. So as we were breaking, once we broke this pivot, there was nothing to hold it. Till we came down to the lower, right? Where's the next consolidation? Right down here, we can see it in the volume profile. So we came right down where there's going to be liquidity down there just from looking at the volume profile, right? So we come down here, taps it, get a little reaction. It's not terribly surprising. Again, that's just the fixed range, just swing low, swing high, right? It makes it very obvious to see where support is likely to show up. Now, additionally, right, I've just done the same thing for the entire swing low to swing high. Well, now here's the POC of this, from this pivot low to this pivot high. I mean, again, it's not complicated to understand, right? So we've come right to the POC here, or to this range of the highest volume nodes here where the most business is being done. Now remember, this is swing low to swing high here. This is not including any of this price action, none, right? So we're only working from this low to this high. So right, not shocking that that's where we right, from this low, right, as we come back, right, where are we finding support? So it's not complicated. Now note here on the 50 EMA here, right? So as we bounce back to it and then push away from it, and now we're coming back to it. Similar kind of thing here. Oh, this is a great example here. So swing, retrace, swing, retrace, swing, retrace. On shorter time frames and for shorter swing trades, this can be very effective. You can put the Vegas wave on, or just the 200 would be equally as effective as that's what institutions will use, 50 and the 200. Well, so there's a couple of things here. With that duly noted here, and you can see where, well, obviously, right, now note, I'm out of log scale here. So the next big cluster here, should we break lower, is down here. And now we're back to those lower 30s, kind of looking across to the 3-4 of the prior degree, right, where all of this support is down here. It's always just potentially support. You can see it tested here, right? We tested. Oh God, I mean, it's hard to miss some of this stuff, right? So we come down here and we test this here. Well, really, no, you could probably do it this way as well. Right into the pocket here. Interesting, right? Markets, it's logical, right? It would make sense, right? That's where we're going to find support, right? So when this is falling, what stops it? Well, interestingly enough, we've broken the golden zone, right? So if I take the swing low to the swing high from here and get right on it, we got a slight break there. So advantage bears, right? So you've lost at this degree, you've lost the buy side algo. And now there's some evidence here that some that are running this algorithm have modified it slightly, because we are seeing slight breaks that do get to target. Well, now target's up here at 78K. So if indeed we're going to get an algorithm that's staying with it here, because that break is not, maybe they're using the 66 or 68, right? It's hard to know until you see it recurring over and over again. But right now, as I interpret that, that's advantage bears. So with that break, kind of interesting. Now let me hide these, because I think that's just making the point here, so you understand how to use it and how you can extrapolate from what prior price action. There's some targets that might be reasonable here. Oh, let's see, we're down here per that volume profile. So coming down here to the longer term base of support. Now, what's interesting here, if you look at this, well, first take note of this. Right? So if I go from the swing low to the absolute, well, here, let's use this one, because this is what I'm using per the count. So I'm going to use the proposed end of the AB. Pardon me. Oh shit, where do I have this? A, B, C, right? So we'd be starting right here. Now, if I go the length of the A and I project from this B, well, out of log scale here, which we're fine, we're just shy of the 127. This would be the most common here is the 100, second most common, right here for, and particularly since this B is potentially an expanded B wave, that we go just to the 127, the length of the A, right? Very, very common. Now there is some thinking here that this is a tough finish in a 5. Oh, you got to be a hardcore purist to stick with that. I think we can go with the idea here that it's 1, 2, 3, 4. You can get an ugly 5 in there, but granted, it is very ugly. But I think the idea is, and we had considered this prior to the bigger sell-off here, that we had a 3, 3, and we were going down for a 5. So if this was going to hold as a 1, 2, possibly even 3, 4, or another 1, 2, I think with the sell-off here, this becomes less and less likely. So you're squeezing a 5 in there. I know it's a little ugly. We've looked at that before. It's a bit of a force fit, but you can wedge it in there. It's not perfect, right? Don't expect it to be. Okay, let's get that off of there. Now, I showed this on Monday's live stream, so members, many may have seen this, but I'm sure quite a few YouTube subs, this will be eye-opening. Now, of course, we always talk about the measured move algorithm here that we know is the dominant algo in the market, but obviously there's God knows how many others that are in here. But the other one that we can identify, you got to look for it, is the wolf range. And I just use that because that's who taught it to me. We're just looking for the initial thrust and then looking for range expansion. Well, this is somewhat remarkable. So if we look here, oh shit, where do I have them? Oh, think they're here. Is this? Oh, yeah, I think they're here. Okay, so here, again, I'm just using that initial thrust high before we make the correction. So this is the range I'm using. Now, what's interesting here is that on the way up, we are tick perfect. Here's the range. Here's 200% of the range, 400% of the range. Now, again, you'll hear me say this often. There is exactly zero possibility that that's random or coincidental. Zero. We as human beings are not that precise. But an algorithm is, right? So here we got 200, 400. Both are to the tick. So you might, even if you were a skeptic thinking, oh, come on, it's not an algorithm, it's just random coincidence. Well, take a look at the, let me take that off. Now let's look at the road down. Here's the initial thrust, right? Here's 100 to the tick. There's 200 to the tick. So note here, we're doing 200, 400. So if I put them back on, we're doing 200, 400 on the way up and doing 100, 200 on the way down. Well, per that, if this algorithm is going to continue to maintain control, if I take off the up, look, you can't even see it here. I've got to move this. So you can see it. I'll take this off, right? What would be next up after the 3? The 5. Where's the 5? At the low. Interesting. So my read of that is that if this starts to accelerate and we break this pivot, well, the next thing that the market is going to, well, there's a shitload of stops there. So if we come down and break that, that's going to be fuel. There'll be structural support here as we come up to that pivot. Remember, that's the pivot high that defined the range expansion on the way up. If we start coming down here and breaking some of that, whoa. Right, now we're coming down to do what pretty much well, a very large percentage of Bitcoin traders have been telling me for months now is never going to happen. What's our low here? It's just under 30K. What if you look at that and just think about what a flat is, really, what do we really have here? Right, we're just going sideways. If we just kind of pull that back out, I mean, it's the, oh shit, I guess I got to put that in context here. So 1, 2, 3. Oh, this would look a little bit better here in log. After this big 1, 2, that we would do a flat here. Oh, come here. That we would do this in alternation with that. I mean, it just makes perfect sense, right? It's hard to argue with that, right? So if it does this, of course, if it does this, right, as I said, most hated count in all of crypto. If it does this, right, of course, every Elliottician, even an amateur, is going to look at that and say, oh, well, of course, right, obviously, we just went sideways in the 4. We had the sharp 2, rule of alternation, or guideline of alternation. Oh, it makes perfect sense, right? The triangle makes perfect sense. Oh, A, B, C, D, E. Oh, well, of course, right? Right. Obviously. It's never obvious at the moment. All right. So it's now we're just waiting for the market to reveal to us what does it have in mind here, right? What? Well, I guess we can take that off. Where are we going next, right? Is this? I got to take it out of log here. Is that really the next destination here? I wouldn't count that out in terms of range of probabilities. Now, so having shown that here, so we can identify this, and I would encourage you to do the same thing. Members, you already know how to do this. If you'd like to know how to set all this stuff up, right, join us. Oh, you can join us for free, right? Of course, right? I have to remind people. People forget that. You can join us for free. Get access to a lot of content, but you want to get access to some of these tools. That's in the, I think we go through all of this in the blue belt. All right, so, all right, let me keep moving here. I feel like I'm dragging. Oh God, where do I want to go next? Well, let's look at the count here. So let me take this off. Oh shit! Now I lost it. Here, let's take this off. Well, let's get them both off. Okay, so let's just focus on the Elliott. See if we can make sense of this. Oh, I'm on an 8. Let's go down to a 2. Now this is tricky in here. Part of the problem is here you don't have it looks like it would be easy, but it's a really shitty 2. So you got to go 1 2 here and then do 3 4 5 to get that to play. This is, I mean, it's doable, right? So but then you have essentially a flat here, which here I guess I take some of this off. Similar kind of thing, right? So what are we doing? We're just going sideways. We're not the trend is not progressing. We get consolidation, right? Very typical of a 4. One last drive down. Now, if you're going to do a B here, it looks like you've got to do it through an expanded. So you got to go A, B, C, A, B, C, and then you got to get your 5 here. It's a little bit of a squish to get it in there. I prefer that to, I mean, the other thought is you could do it here, and then you'd have this A, deeply expanded B. It doesn't change where you end up, even if you put the A here, right? Now, that's on the assumption that we're doing A, B, C, and not 1, 2, 3, which we can't eliminate. So this, after the fact, right, we'll be able to come back here with some certainty and say, what do we got here? But right now, I think this is probably the better solution, although better, I shouldn't say that, right? This is what I see, and part of that is based off of, okay, if there's the 1 and there's the 2, right? What do we do here, right? So again, just this is why you always want to measure, right? So that's 2 ticks shy of the 1 6 1 8. So it makes me want to plant the 3 here, right? We know it's the most common. Yeah, it's 1 2 3 4 5. So I can see it. A, B, C, or oh fuck, what are we doing? 1 2 3. So again, it's a little bit of a squish in there. See, here you could do it over here, right? And you'd say, oh well, hey man, now we're in the box, and I can get an ABC here, which I get you. I looked at that, but it doesn't quite work as well. If this is 1 2, you got to get another 1 2 in there. It doesn't work as well. So at least here I can get the 3 in here. I can't do it. If I put the 3 here, and this is 4, and this is 3, and then we're working back, I don't have a 1 2. So thus, I think the ABC here plays better. We finish with this waterfall consolidation. A, B. Now that's a shallow B, of course. Right? So we'd be pulling from up here. Oh, let's get that back to right to the 38. It's not unheard of for a B, right? 38 to the 786 is really prime. Well, really 50 to the 786, but we see them at the 38. Right, so the A, B, C into the B. 1 2. Well, shit. How are we going to do that? Well, this is looking like we're trying to finish. That you don't have to have the whole puzzle, right? This looks like we've got a pretty solid ABC going in here. Now, 1 2 3 4 5 looks like that could be a 1 of a diag. 2 1 2, right? More coming down. It doesn't look like you could finish it here, right? As I sit here on a 2 hour. Could we finish this? Yeah, even that is sure looks like a 3. So it looks like you got to do it in a series of 3s. This is a very tough call. Even here, A, B, C. What do you really have here? Well, here's what you have here. A series of lower lows and lower highs. So we're even if you just put a trend line on it, we are trending lower. Oh, good. Let's get that solid. We'll go to a 2. All right. So the trend is lower, lower, low, lower, low, lower, low, not by much. Lower, high, lower, high. All right. Even if we bring it down here, this is all wick. We go body to body. Right here, just throw over wicks, throw over wick. Now we're coming down. Well, that looks like that's too far. It's just looking for the algo here. That's too far, but this looks like it might be right. All right, so that's what they'll do. They'll work one breaks, they'll go to the next one. So here we're right in the pocket. Between the 50 and the 618, we got an algo target down here. So if this algo is going to play, if it's here to the golden zone here, we're going to come down here. What could we finish here? Doesn't look like it, right? So that's the danger. It looks like we might be heading lower. Here's the invalidation point for the 1 2 1 2, which I think is deeply, well, it's certainly being challenged. How would we say it that way? It's certainly getting challenged. So working backwards here. So this is a classic 3, 4, 5. So you want to go A, B, C into that. You don't have much of a 2 here. This is the lower pivot as well. So you'd have to do A, B, C. Oh, it's tough in here, but it looks like you'd have to go 1, 2. Oh, fuck, that is mighty close. 2. There's no 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. You might be able to do it here. You'd have to. Oh, you'd have to dig the 1, 2 out of here, so you'd have to do it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's silly. You'd have to go down to a 15 to get to, because this pivot is lower than this pivot, so we can't go 1, 2. That's a bit of a push. A, B, C. So maybe we do it here. So then, but this creates a little bit of a problem, as these are so close here. God, you might need it. God, I don't know that we can. Oh, shit, hang on. Let's dig in there. Shit, if I'm here, I might as well do it. Let's go to a 30. See if I can get anything in there to give me a better read. How can we finish that? Do we have a 2? You'd have to do it something like that, which is just awful. Ugh. I mean, you're kind of throwing it in there because you need it. Can't say you really have it. Well, let's play that through. If that's 3, 4, 5, what do we get there? I don't want you here. I don't want you in auto. I want you out of auto. A, B, C. Got to do it that way. A, B, C. So you've got to use this one. You really are stuck with it. You got to use this one as, oh fuck, here. Use that as the high. So you got to go 1, 2, even though I don't really want to do that. God, is there another way I can solve that? I don't know that there is. Well, this is a clear double bottom, so you'd have to go here. So this would have to be A, B, C. Fuck. It's a bit of a pain in the ass right there. Well, we can only expand this as a B. All right, let's play it out. So if that's right, you'd have to go 1 very, very big 2. Oh, could we do it here? Let's make that micro. Let's go up a little bit. Let's get rid of that. Oh, I didn't mean to get caught over here, but I think I am. I think I'm committed now. So if this is oh fuck, we'll have to do it this way. If this is 1 and this is 2. All right, so here's the 2, 6, 1, 8, right? Reasonable candidate, right? So if it's not going to be here, which you certainly wouldn't have an impulse there. I don't even think you'd have an impulse there, actually, now that I look at this. I think you got to do that a little differently. You got to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can't do it. Come here. Oh, why is it lagging? You got to do it that way. Let's go back to a 60 here. See if we can make sense of that. Yes, I don't know why I'm lagging here. Okay, so what do we got here? Seems like sideways fuckery, really. There's no acceleration of the trend, but you have to respect, as we were just talking about, it's lower lows, lower highs. So you got to respect that until we get something resolved here. So let's go back to a 2 here. All right, so if potential here, we're working through a diag here, potential, right? So Well, looks like you'd go 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's label it up. 1, 2. All right, this needs to go much lower. All right, so you'd have an internal ABC to be working on. Now, that's a lot to project here. We don't know. We don't know that we're going to challenge these lows, but right now that seems to be what's coming on. Let's go sub here and go into blue. Okay, so it looks like 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, remains to be seen how that resolves, but right now this is looking unfinished. Let's just say it that way. Now, there's nothing says that this couldn't just rip right out of here over the weekend, right? We've tested. Now we start ripping. Now we'd be back here figuring out a way to finish this. Oh, yeah, there's possibility of truncation because this is such an extreme here. So we're not, completely committed to much lower prices here. The market doesn't have to do anything, as I remind you. So if we're going to finish here and we're going to hold this pivot here, this would have to come. Ideally, you'd get one more push down here to challenge that pivot, and then perhaps you could talk yourself into a diag to finish it. But then you'd be finishing an ABC. So here would be the. God damn it! Never. God, that pisses me off. Never. Trading view. Please fix that. ABC. We'd be down here. So let's come back out to a 4 here. Interesting, right? This would be. There'd probably be some bulls who'd be thinking 1, 2, but if we're coming down to test this zone, I think that comes off the board. All right, here's the next support as we looked at in the volume profile. But technically, right, until we break that pivot, it's that count remains alive, the 1, 2, 1, 2. So we can't eliminate that here. I do think if we come down here and we finish towards this, then we start to look much more like the triangle is what we're going to get. So you would anticipate that this, now we get another 3 up here, and then the final 3. Maybe in the 40s, and then we go into the new year having completed this long, frustrating sideways 4 that's been driving everyone crazy, particularly bulls. Maybe we're down here at these lows, but we come in, whether it's triangle or flat, and then we go into 22 with this having resolved itself, and perhaps we go into the spring with some new legs to move higher. I think that's everything I've got here today. It's very interesting to see how this is going to resolve, but there's a lot going on here. The market certainly is. It's certainly not acting like an inflationary hedge, right? So we can look at Bitcoin and its correlation to the S&P and the NASDAQ and say, well, it's certainly trading like it's a risk asset, right? Risk on, risk off. Oh God, I've lost touch of what the markets are doing today. But we don't see the signs of people rushing to Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation. So. Not saying that in any way dampens my bullish enthusiasm, but it's not being traded like that kind of an asset just yet. So anyway, all right, there we go. So let me wrap up here. Oh shit, there's 38 minutes. Okay, just a reminder, you can always join us for free. I dropped that in midway. Don't forget, you can join us for free. You get full access to the white belt. That's 4 hours of content and give you a feel for the way we approach teaching. In the white belt, and then if you wanted to pursue higher belts, blue and purple, well, that'll keep you busy. But we've had people, I just told you, a new member hit blue belt. I think he did it within, 4 or 5 weeks. So it's very doable if you have the time and the inclination to do the study. So it's that's just another option for you. And there'll be some end of year, around the new year, probably be some promos for them that are kind of waiting for that or missed the Black Friday. All right, we're not hardcore about it. Okay, there you go, guys. All right, lots to think about here. This will be very interesting once we get resolution down here, as we know what we have, right? Is it going to be a C of a triangle, or is the flat coming in down here? Looking at it here, here's the last low, right? The way this would be the proposed structural low here. Doesn't look that far away, does it? Here we are having tapped 45. Another sounds like a lot. Oh shit, another 15K. We're going to go down another 15K. Well, for Bitcoin, that's not much over the course of a week or a month. All right, guys, trade carefully in here. I guess the last thing I had just to throw this on here, right? So if you're looking for when this is over, a regression channel is a nice way to do it. Now, you'll note here the regression channel has gotten rather skinny here because we're going hard. Look at the 50 EMA. We're just going straight down. Look at the slope of it. So, oh, and I did these last week. Pardon me. Here, I want this over here. So if you look at this one here, right, this is a nice way to define when that trend, when that move is over, right? So we break it here. Now we've got this one, but you could do the same thing. Oh, I think we did it. Oh, God damn it. I keep grabbing the wrong thing. We did it the same way here, right? So when that broke, well, here was the correction back inside of it. So sometimes that interplay between multiple channels. So this was definitely an area of confluence up here where we had those two channels intersecting here as we broke the high, right? It's a lot, you know, I don't know. Seems like there were weeks going by where I kept saying, don't be a breakout trader, right? You're just going to get bent over, right? So, you know, breakout traders bought it, right? They bought it here, got punished. Then they said, oh, even if you held it, like, oh, now I'm good. Now I'm good. You know, somebody bought it up here at 62. Are they still with it? Well, that remains to be seen as to how the market's going to respond down here. And of course, you could always just go from the absolute low to the all-time high and look at that same channel this way. Now we get a little throw over here, but this is what you so commonly will see, right? As we come down here, break it. There's the last kiss goodbye before it heads down. So regression channels, great way to define a trend like this. If you're unsure or if you're not quite there on your Elliott skills yet, just throw a bloody regression channel on. If it breaks, the market's talking to you. All right, guys, that's all I got for today. Live streams. Oh, let's see. We are on Monday. I'm traveling Tuesday, Wednesday, but I think Monte Crypto will be on. So I will next chat with you guys on Monday when we go through member alts and all the stuff we like to do there. Okay, guys, you have a good weekend. I'll catch you on